Welcome. We'll get started shortly. Before we begin, here's how to earn continuing professional education credit for attending this session. There are no polling questions or attendance checks. Instead, you will demonstrate your knowledge by taking a brief multiple-choice quiz using the Earmark app. Visit earmark.app in your web browser. You can also download the mobile app by scanning the QR code on the screen. Log in, or if you're new, create your free account. Be sure to use a valid email address because that's where we'll send your course completion certificates. From the home screen, scroll down to find the course. You can also tap the magnifying glass icon to search for the course. Tap on the course artwork, then the Enroll button. On the Course tab, you'll find the recording and quiz questions. Complete the quiz to earn your CPE certificate. It takes us a few days to create the course on the app, so if you are attending this session live, please wait a few days. We'll email you a link to the course when it is ready. If you have questions or need help, email us at support@earmarkcpe.com. And now, on to the event.
Hey folks, how you doing? Thank you so much for having me here today. So I am going to share my screen. So bear with me 1 second while I just bring up the right window. And we are going to start. It would be great, actually, if you could just let me know in the chat that you can see my screen and that you can hear me and everything is good. That would be awesome, please. Hello, Nick, and hello, Gary. You've already commented, which is fab. And what we're going to be doing today is looking at how to go from compliance to confidence. And we're looking at crafting high value advisory services. Thanks, Carol. That's awesome. Hey, how you doing? How is everybody? That's amazing. Okay, loud and clear. Brilliant. All right, so we're going to be diving in from compliance to confidence, crafting high value advisory services. So for those of you who are new to me, I have been working in the accounting profession now for 10 years, and I've supported over 700 accounting and bookkeeping clients from US, UK, Australia and Canada mainly. I'm classed as a speaker or a coach or a facilitator, author. I wear lots and lots of different hats. Some say I'm an advisor, although not quite like you guys, and a trainer as well. And the thing that makes it really great when I work with you guys is that I'm strategy and data obsessed. So everything that I do is all about making sure that we have the data to back it up, that we have the strategy that is proven, and that everything that we do is very much in alignment with the outcomes that you want, and there is nothing that is wasted, and we have everything included that is needed. So that's kind of where I come from, and the way that I work with my clients and the way that I work with people when I do these kind of workshops and webinars. So for those of you who would like more information on what I do and would like to dive deeper into being a business advisor, there's a few free things that you can get. You can go to amandasnewbook.com and download the Business Advisor Playbook. Now, this playbook, it's about 50,000 words, so it's quite big. If you are wanting to not have to sit there and read it, you can actually listen to the book, the first 20 episodes on the Business Advisor podcast. So go to the Business Advisor podcast. There's actually 64, 65 episodes now on the podcast. Please do go and have a listen to that as well. You'll find it on Spotify and on Apple. But if you'd like a copy of the book, go to Amanda's New Book and download yourself a copy of it. All right. So what I do and what I specialize in is helping accountants and bookkeepers go from a compliance-based firm to focusing purely on advisory. Some of my clients actually don't go from compliance and start just with advisory. But what we do is we specialize in helping you unpack your value and for you to see your intellectual property. And then we show you how to actually demonstrate that to your ideal clients so that you get high value clients that pay you $1, $2, $3, or even $5,000 a month for the work that you do. And we focus on you working fewer hours. So it's doubling your time off, but also doubling your profits at least when we work together. So we have clients of the Business Advisor Academy that have gone really from struggling to charge $3,000 a year all the way up to actually $30,000 once they switch from that compliance work to the advisory work. It's really great. And I'm going to be sharing with you today a little bit around advisory and how you can start to implement it in your firm. All right. So this is a little bit of a nag. Okay. It's really important that this is valuable for you. So you're going to be spending about 50 minutes with me today, and I'm going to be teaching you quite a lot. And it's not about what gets taught. It's not about what comes out of my mouth. It's about what you manage to catch. So if you can catch as much as possible, you can start to implement advisory or really dial up the quality of your advisory in your accounting or your bookkeeping firm. So it's what gets caught, not what gets taught. And if you can just like fill up pages and pages of the book, okay, it's really important that you actually can action what we go through today. And the only way you're going to be able to do that is to write stuff down, because you won't remember it. So tiny little nag there, but so that you get the value from today. All right. Okay, so there are three huge problems that I see in the profession at the moment. The first one is when it comes to moving from compliance to advisory, a lot of you struggle with imposter syndrome. And actually, this is a really good thing, because if you didn't struggle with imposter syndrome, I would question whether or not you're coming from a place of wanting to do a really great job, right? So actually having imposter syndrome is a positive thing, but it does give you that nagging feeling that you don't know enough. You worry that you aren't tech savvy enough, or that you aren't businessy enough, that you worry that you aren't able to advise clients. And what happens with this imposter syndrome is it keeps you playing small, and you keep playing small by doing the work for your clients. So when you run a traditional accounting and bookkeeping firm, what happens is you are stuck doing the work. And the only way that you can grow is if you get somebody else to do the work for you, but you still end up being stuck doing the work. You just have lots of you doing the work. That's how you grow a traditional accounting firm. What we need to do is get you out of this imposter syndrome mindset so that you can go, do you know what? I don't have to do the work for my clients. I can advise my clients. They can do the work themselves, and they can have the transformation that they want in their business. So that's a huge problem, and we need to overcome that. And I'm hoping that today you'll see, as I go through, how the process will help you overcome this imposter syndrome. Here's another problem that we have as well, which is a resentment towards clients. And the thing is like, I did a poll on LinkedIn this week, and I was like, why do you want to offer advisory? Is it because you want to make more money? Is it because you want to get your time back? Or is it because you want to make a bigger impact? And here's the thing. A lot of you just want to make this impact. Yes, more time would be great. Yes, more money, of course, would be great. But actually, you want to make a bigger impact. But where you genuinely care about helping clients, you have this frustration. And this frustration comes because your clients don't respect you as the advisor, and they treat you like you have a job. So they treat you like you work for them as an employee, which means that they don't have boundaries. They're late with information. They expect miracles, and they have massive scope creep. So you start to resent your clients when you're doing the traditional accounting role. And then thirdly, we have disruption. So disruption is coming. It is here. It is changing every single day. Every day, outsourcing and offshoring becomes a much more viable option for an accounting firm, right? And also compliance is commoditized, which means that the only way that you're competing really is on price. The other thing as well is artificial intelligence is doing the basics. I have a client, he has a practice, and his revenue is over £2 million a year. And he is using AI to complete tax returns. So it's all being done through AI, and he's not touching it at all. None of his team are touching it. Okay, they're checking it and signing it off at the end, but it's taken somebody's job. And this is happening across the board, right? Disruption is already here, and it's going to come at a faster and faster pace. Every single day, AI is getting better. So AI is taking over the basics, the compliance. Offshoring and outsourcing is the answer for other compliance. What does that leave you with? That leaves you with advisory. Okay, so what we have to do is embrace this journey. The problem is if we stick with compliance and don't offer advisory, you are going to stay underpaid. All right. If you are underpaid, you can't afford top tier talent, which means that the kind of work that your clients are doing, not your clients, sorry, your team are doing, and the way that your team are acting is really not great. You're not going to be having really good fulfillment. You're going to be stuck on the hamster wheel because you're going to have to check everything your team does because the buck stops with you. And what happens is your reputation is going to suffer, or you're going to end up with having a heart attack, right? You're going to be overworked, underpaid, and it's going to be a disaster, because the only way that you're going to be able to make sure everything gets signed off properly is if you do the end of signing off. Okay. Now, if your reputation suffers because you're not doing a good job, because you're completely squeezed, because you can't afford great talent, then you're going to attract only price sensitive clients. You're not going to be able to sell on a great reputation. You're actually going to just have to sell on price. Then you're going to get bad referrals. Then those bad referrals are going to want to buy compliance and not advisory. And the circle goes round and round and round. And that means that you end up creating a monster business. And a monster business is hundreds of clients paying you hundreds of dollars instead of a few clients paying you thousands of dollars. Okay. So what we have to do is move from monster business and you being a flailing founder. And we have to actually move to become what I call a vital advisor. And a vital advisor gets rewarded financially for the huge value that you provide. Okay. So I'm going to dive in now into the 5 keys to becoming a vital advisor. So the first thing that we have to look at is, what does vital even mean? Okay. So if you imagine the word vital, if you look it up in the dictionary, it actually says, or if you Google it, it means essential. So it means that you can't be thrown away. It means that you are essential to a business. It means that when a business has a problem, when a business owner has a problem, they're like, I need to phone my advisor. You are literally their right-hand person. If you are vital, it means that you're valuable because you go beyond the basics. It means that you're impactful because you're actually making a real difference to these business owners. It means that you can be trusted because you are the go-to. So they've got a problem, they pick up the phone, they're like, oh my gosh, hey Beth, I'm really struggling. I need your help. Can you give me some advice? You're on the end of that phone. The other thing that being vital is being agile, because we have to adapt to what is needed now, and things are changing every single day. As I said, disruption is here and we have to be agile. We can't run our firms like we did 10, 20 years ago. We have to adapt to the new way of working, which is no question whatsoever. It is about shifting to that advisor role. And then this one is really great because a vital advisor helps their clients make or save money. Okay. So what happens when you make or save a business money? They want to give you more money. So you actually end up being lucrative. They end up being lucrative. All of this extra money goes into the economy, and all of a sudden you're happy, they're happy, the economy is thriving, and everything seems to slot into place, which is why accountants and bookkeepers are absolutely vital to a business if you show up as an advisor, not just as the commodity that sadly accountants and business and bookkeepers have become. Okay. So if you're valuable, okay, you want to show up that in a way where you create exceptional value for your clients, because they're the only ones that survive. Like when COVID hit a few years ago, what really was interesting was during that time, in 1 year, I worked with 300 accountants. They all came to me and was like, Amanda, I need your help. And I was sat there and I saw businesses thrive, accounting firms thrive, and I saw accounting firms completely fall off the edge of the earth. And the reason why is because those that thrived showed up and shared value, and those that fell off the edge of the earth were just like, oh my gosh, this is a disaster, COVID's hit, and just kind of buried their head in the sand and didn't show up and provide value for their clients or for their audience. Okay. So when we talk about value, it has to be measurable and meaningful. And sadly, traditional value propositions are becoming commoditized. And if I go back to the COVID side of things, again, it was amazing because I watched accountants show up for the world in the form of being a trusted advisor. However, what happened as soon as COVID was over is the majority of you all went back to your caves and you didn't carry on being that trusted advisor. You kind of showed up for a year and a bit and then you disappeared again. And it was heartbreaking because you had this opportunity that you could have run with. So what we have to do to be vital is show up and be valuable every single day. Then we have to be impactful. So we have to make a real difference. And the thing is to make a real difference, it's not just about, oh, I've got 3 clients that I help. We actually have to influence the market and we have to help that economy grow. And everybody who is watching you on social media, you need to be showing up and being present and show that you can influence the world. And market influence is actually the new currency. It used to be years and years ago, it used to be about the person with the most money would get the best clients. Now, actually, it's about how you can influence an audience. You're going to get the best clients that way. All right. And you have to create a ripple effect that goes beyond your direct customers. And you can't do that if you're just doing this compliance work, right? Impact must be visible and verifiable, which is why we have to show up actually through our marketing and be the advisor online as well as to our clients. Then when we look at being trusted, there is a trust deficit, right? There is a massive trust deficit. 70% of businesses that you work with will say, if they were interviewed, they would say that they do not trust the companies that they work with. Okay, I'm not saying that they won't trust you, but the likelihood is 70% of your clients don't trust you. So what we have to do is we have to build that trusted relationship. And it's non-negotiable now to enable us to be vital and not thrown away. Okay, strong relationships beat short-term transactions, and actions speak louder than words. So the reason why I show up and do webinars and I have all my content online is because I have to build that relationship of trust before someone becomes a client of ours. All right. And everything that I do, you need to be looking at doing too, if you are going to move out of compliance and into a more advisory role, because you're also asking for more money when you move into that advisory role, which means that it's not a simple decision of, do I have to find $100, $200 or $300 a month to work with you? I actually have to find $1,000, $2,000 or $3,000. And that is a lot more thinking that I need to trust the person I'm giving that money to. Then I've mentioned quite a lot about being agile. Market changes are changing. It's accelerating very, very fast. You've got to be able to pivot quickly. Again, if we go back to 2019, 2020, as COVID hit us, the ones who survived, the essential, vital advisors, were the ones that pivoted quickly, right? And what we do know is a traditional accounting practice is a dying business. It's as simple as that. We've got far less people becoming CPAs. We've got far less people wanting to go into the profession. So what do we have to do? We've got to make the profession more exciting. And the way to do that is bring more value to your clients. And then finally, lucrative is all about you and your client growing profitably together. So it must be systematic. It can't be accidental. You need to have method in the madness. You can't just give ad hoc advice because people aren't going to listen to ad hoc advice. Okay. So you need to have a revenue model that is sustainable and scalable for you and help your clients have exactly the same thing, right? And the way that you capture the value, it must actually match the value creation. All right. So you have to charge for the amount of value that you bring. And I'm going to be sharing with you how you can bring great deal value for your business advisory services. All right. So out of the vital framework where you're valuable, impactful, trusted, agile, and lucrative, which one of those do you feel like you could bring more to? So you might find that, yes, you're valuable to your clients, but are you making a bigger impact outside your clients? Do you have relationships of trust? Which one of those would you like to improve the most right now, just from going through that? Let me know in the chat box which one of those you'd like to improve the most. Because one of the things that we have when we can actually sit down and go, right, okay, I know that I can make my clients money, but actually I'm not focused on that. I'm actually focused on just doing the compliance work and I'm sitting on this mountain of value. Lucrative might be the one that you want to focus on. Right. So Melinda says lucrative. Graham says impactful. Great. Okay. So we're going to make a bigger impact. Sarah says impact. Lovely. And this goes back again to what is the thing that you need to do right now? Because it can feel quite overwhelming when people like myself say, you need to move from compliance to advisor. And it's like, oh my gosh, that feels really overwhelming. What do I need to do? Okay. Yeah. So we've got a lot of impact here. And if we can stretch out and impact more people, we will make a huge difference. If we think that 50% of businesses go out of business within 5 years, the more we share for free and the bigger impact that we can create beyond just our client base, the more we're going to change the world, right? Okay, fab. Sarah says all of them really, but impact is the domino that starts the ball rolling. Great. So just to recap before we move on, if you position yourself as vital, you will be able to charge more for your services. You will be able to get the best clients that are out there, and you will keep them for a mighty long time. All right, because you're not throwaway. So when you wake up in the morning and you're like, oh my gosh, what do I have to do today? Ask yourself, how can I be more valuable to my clients? How can I create a bigger impact in the world? How can I build a relationship of trust? What could I do to be more agile to support my clients today? And who can I make some money for? You don't have to do it for everybody every day, but who can you make some money for? What piece of advice could you help someone either make or save money? Because that will have a knock-on effect to you too. Okay, so let me give you some examples of how this shift has changed. So Andy is a client of mine. We call him a vital advisor. He went from doing $3,000 a year for compliance work to going, do you know what? I'm done. I cannot do that anymore. I want to make a difference. I want to make an impact, right? So what Andy wanted to do was have way more fun offering services that made a bigger impact. So he went from doing the work for his clients to actually just giving advice to his clients. And what happened is he's gone from $3,000 a year to $30,000 a year, right? Super, super cool. Tanya, who's been with me only for a couple of months, she has, last week it was, secured her first major advisory client. What she did was she became more impactful and unpacked her value. And she is now, instead of selling compliance, she generated a $2,500 a month recurring advisory revenue client. Now, this is a massive shift to go from the traditional accounting offer, okay, to an advisory offer. So that was very exciting, and we did a lot of celebrating with that one. Nishi, this one's really magic, right? Because what Nishi did is he added 150K in advisory revenue from 20 compliance clients that he had, and did it in a group format. So instead of having an advisory session one-on-one with each client, he decided to bring his clients together in a room every single quarter and help them plan. And he charged, I think it was about 6,000 a year in pounds, so about $8,000, but that was per client. But all he did was get those people into a room once a quarter to do some planning. So he added 150K in advisory revenue just like that, and actually managed to deliver that offer one day, once every quarter. So 150K for 4 days work. How does that sound, right? This is the power of getting your head around advisory and how you can deliver it. And then Pool, who is absolutely inspiring, she actually charges 1.5K to 3K a month per advisory client, and over 3 years added 350K, which is about $450,000, $500,000. Okay. The great thing about this is it's slow and steady wins the race. So it'd be very easy for me to sit here and say, I'm going to show you how to make $1 million when it comes to offering advisory. And I could 100% do that. The problem is when you create a business that fast and you add in $1 million in advisory, you are going to break. So our goal is, how can you add 1 to 2 advisory clients every single month in a way where you can onboard them really well, you position yourself as vital, and you don't run out of time, you don't get overworked, you don't get burnt out, because the majority of you do have clients that you're servicing already. So if I said, let's add $1 million in a year, you would absolutely fall off your chair. It wouldn't be suitable. So Pool is a great example of slow and steady wins the race. And she's added over 350K. I think it's about 500K, but I underestimated on that one. Okay. So this is a question that I get asked a lot. What is business advisory? And I'd love for you guys to just let me know in the chat box. What do you think business advisory is? before I dive in and start putting my tuppence worth in, what do you think business advisory is? If I said, be a business advisor, and I'll read some of them out. I know that when people watch the replay of this, they're not going to be able to type in. I'm not going to be able to read it out. But what does business advisory mean to you? And if you don't comment, I'm going to think that you are just like the majority of people I speak to. You don't actually really get it, because it's a term that people like me are going, hey, you need to stop doing compliance, and actually you need to move into an advisory role. So Graham has said, helping clients increase their revenues. Yeah, that's part of it. That's good. That's good. Anything more than compliance? Yeah, Sarah, I feel like you've been on one of my workshops before, because I say that advisory is everything outside of compliance. Listening to clients and offering constructive feedback and asking questions. Yeah, I love the asking questions. That's great. Mentor or coach, providing value to client. Yeah, brilliant. When they can relate to their businesses and make changes. Helping my clients accomplish their goals. Brilliant. Helping clients understand the business better to make informed decisions. So good. Okay, great. So we have kind of an idea of what business advisory is. I'm just going to share with you the difference between compliance and advisory when it comes to what you focus on, your value proposition, and client engagement. So when it comes to compliance, you're always focusing on the past. You're looking at, this is where we are now. This is what has happened in the past. When we look at advisory, it's like, this is what's happening as we go forward. All right. The value proposition for you, right, and for them is compliance, low margins. You need a lot of clients to make some cash. Yes, the more you sort out your processes, yes, the more you sort out your systems, you'll be able to increase that margin, but it is quite a low margin business. You've got to pack them high and sell it cheap with compliance nowadays, especially now it's being outsourced and offshored. However, advisory is completely the opposite. Advisory, you're looking at 70 to 80% profits there. Absolutely. It can even be 100% profits if you price in a certain way. There really is very little cost when it comes to giving advisory support. Okay. And then when it comes to client engagement, actually clients don't really have a great deal to do with you when it comes to compliance. If you're lucky, they'll get their bookkeeping up to date for you, or you're doing it for them. But the client engagement is super, super minimal when it comes to compliance. When it comes to advisory, though, it's a partnership. So when I'm being an advisor, it isn't about me going, hey, I have to do the work. It's how can we help you achieve your goal? It's a partnership. It's consulting, and your clients do the work with your support. Can you just imagine for a moment how lovely it would be to have a conversation with your client, leave that conversation, and you don't have to do anything after that conversation? You haven't committed to, I will get it to you by Tuesday. I will do this. I will do that. Let's revisit when I've done it. If you can get rid of the words where you're saying, I'll do it, and you say, what are you going to commit to? You ask your client what they're going to commit to and what they're going to take action on. That is exceptionally freeing. And it is an amazing place to be in as a business advisor, because all of a sudden you start to get your freedom back. You get your freedom of stress because you're not having to do the work, freedom of time because you only have to spend the time with the client, not spend hours out of the client relationship. And also you just have freedom of income because you've got those high margins, right? So that's why advisory is the way forward for accounting firms. Compliance is a cost to business owners. Advisory is an investment. And that's why business owners are very happy to invest in business coaches. They'll spend $2,000, $4,000, $5,000 a month on a business coach because they feel like they're investing in growing their business. But when it comes to working with you and doing the compliance work, they will question you on price and say that Bob down the road does it cheaper because it feels like a cost. They have to do compliance because the government has told them to. They want to grow the business because that comes from inside of them. This is why advisory is so cool. All right. So there are 3 advisory conversations that every single accountant should be having with your clients, right? So it's very much, instead of just looking at the past like you do with the compliance work, it's what conversations can you have with your clients as you move forward with them in an advisory role. So I call this the transformation framework. And this transformation framework should give you some clarity around what kind of questions are you going to ask your clients so that they can have then achieve the goals that they want to have, right? Because what we have to remember as well is that people run a business to give them the life they want. And what we find is that most people, most accountants, go and try and fix a business instead of speaking to the person about what they want, right? In their personal life, because it's their personal life that often drives the business decisions. So the 3 conversations that you need to have is the money conversation. Now, you've got the money conversation. You know what's happening, whether you're in their QuickBooks or in their Xero, you know what's happening with their money. So that's easy for you to have. You then have the strategy conversation, and you should own this. But unfortunately, business coaches tend to own the strategy conversation, which is, what do you want in your personal life? What do you want in your business life? And I'll give you some examples of this, right? And then you've got the future conversation, and this you 100% need to own. And this is the conversation that you have with your clients when it comes to, where do you want your life to be in 3 years, 5 years, 25 years time? Okay. So the money conversation, and please, this is where I'm saying it's what gets caught, not what gets taught. So please write these down. When you are having the money conversation, these are the kind of sentences and the questions that you need to be having with your clients. So imagine sitting with your client and saying to them, based on your current numbers, what worries you the most in the next 12 months? Now, just for a moment, how would you feel if I asked you that question? Okay, based on your current numbers, what worries you the most about the next 12 months? Just have a think about that. How does that make you feel inside when I ask you that question? Because I reckon, as a business owner yourself, you never sit down and think about these things. You actually just do the work and keep on going. And your ideal client is exactly the same as you. They're busy in the weeds doing the work for their clients and building their business, that they don't ever have anyone say to them, what worries you the most about the next 12 months? And if you can show up as their advisor and ask them that question, you already will be bringing value to them. Another question is, if cash wasn't a constraint, what would you invest in first? Right? So that opens up their thinking. That's a really good question to open up their thinking. So if I said to you, if cash wasn't a constraint, what would you invest in? These questions are really good. I would love for you to sit down and actually write down the answers to these questions after this workshop so that you can get some clarity about what it is that you want to do in the next 12 months. What's the most expensive business mistake you've made in the last year? Mine was investing £75,000 in Facebook advertising. I got a £5,000 return on that. So for those of you in the US, that's about $100,000, and I got about $8,000 back if I was lucky. Okay, so most expensive business mistake. I've made way too many mistakes with Facebook advertising, not doing it anymore. All right. And I actually hired an agency. So it's not even like I made the mistake. I made the mistake of hiring an agency. Which part of your business is actually losing you money right now? And if we could improve one financial metric by 10%, which would make the biggest difference? Okay. So these are great questions. And this is very different from, let me explain your profit and loss. All right. So how do you feel about those questions? Do you have those questions with your clients right now? And if you don't, how could you have those questions and really transform their world? All right. So they're the money conversation. Then we have the strategy conversation. This is where you take the numbers from QuickBooks and from Xero and you turn them into strategic insights. So as you're moving into high value territory, you could say things like, what 3 things need to happen this year for you to feel successful? So think about how that might be answered by yourself, okay? Which part of your business deserves more attention but keeps getting ignored? I can answer that one for you. You end up being in the weeds, you stay stuck in compliance, and you know you should be doing more advisory. What are your competitors doing that's keeping you awake at night? If you had to double your business with your current resources, what would you do differently? What's the one decision you've been avoiding making? That's an interesting one. What's the one decision you've been avoiding making? So these questions actually position you as their thinking partner and not just their numbers person. So you're helping them to think that little bit more. And remember, as I said only 5 minutes ago, most business owners are stuck in the weeds and nobody sits with them and helps them think. All right. What this does is it helps you think with your clients. And when they have success, it will be because of the conversations they have with you, the way that you help them open up and get clarity, the way they go from overwhelmed to going, oh my gosh, I've got the answer. I know what I need to work on. All right. And then the future conversation, this is where you really become indispensable. This is where you become really vital and you earn the big fees. So when you say to them, what does your business need to look like in 3 years to support your personal goals already? Okay, we go back to what is it that you want as a person, not as a business, but as a person. That question will really get them going, oh my gosh, right, now I know what I need to create. What's the biggest risk to your business that we haven't discussed yet? So if I asked you that question, you'd be like, ooh, and I can tell you the biggest risk, which we have discussed, is staying in the compliance lane. If you were going to sell your business in 2 years, what would we need to fix first? So for you, if we were going to sell it, what is it we need to fix? Probably we need to up the profitability and increase the revenue, but it could be that we need to be looking at cash flow. It could be that we need to get more clients and your business isn't worth enough to sell. But these are questions you need to ask your clients. What capability does your business need to develop to stay competitive? If you could restructure your business from scratch, what would you do differently? So I'm going to ask you this question. If you could restructure your business from scratch, what would you do differently? If you could restructure it, so the business that you run now, if you could just start again from scratch, I can guarantee that you would get rid of what I call vampire clients. They're the ones that suck the life out of you. The ones that when you get an email from them, you're like, oh no, they've messaged me again. I don't want to answer them. They're the ones that drive you completely and utterly nuts. The vampire clients that just drain you of energy. You all will have some. And if you haven't got some, you did have some when you started your practice because you were taking on any clients just to bring in the cash. Okay. So if you could restructure your business from scratch, what would you do differently? Just like I'm saying, these are questions for you to ask your clients. These are questions that will transform your business too, if you sat down. Okay. Graham, I'm not sure about getting a copy of the slides, but absolutely, definitely reach out to Earmark and ask them. Right? Okay, fab. So this transformation framework changes absolutely everything for you. It shows you understand business, not just the numbers, which you do, even if you're nervous. If we go back to the imposter syndrome, right? Even if you're nervous that you can't do this, you absolutely can. You run your own practice. You understand numbers. You've been advising people for years for free. You've been giving it away for free, right? It differentiates you from other accountants when you use the transformation framework and you have those 3 conversations. It naturally leads to ongoing advisory work. It uncovers problems worth paying to solve. So if I was to sit with you for an hour and go through those questions one-on-one with you, and you actually gave me those answers, the amount of clarity that you would get in that hour sitting going through those questions, you'd be like, oh my gosh, this is amazing, Amanda. Like, you would throw money at me because you would have clarity and you would have a plan and you would actually have someone that's listening to you and you would build that relationship of trust. Remember, we've got to bring the value. You're going to create an impact with these questions. You're going to build relationships of trust. You're going to show that you can move with the times and you're going to help them make money. Yeah. So Helen says that if she was starting again from scratch and you could wipe the slate screen, you just do advisory. Yeah. Graham says, I would put all clients on monthly direct debit. So Graham, go back and make sure that that happens right now. But isn't it interesting? Because the insights that you're getting from that question yourself, you can then take that to your clients and you can say, do you know what? I would do this. Okay. Right. Lena would say, I'd position myself as an advisor, not an accountant. 100%. That's what I would love for you to do. Okay. The reason why is when you're an accountant, I don't want to diminish how amazing it is when you're an accountant, because it is an exceptional skill, one that I struggle with. Okay. Like, not everybody can be an accountant. What I would say though, is people just don't value you as much as they value a business coach or a consultant. And by value, I mean, they will not pay you the big bucks if you position yourself as an accountant. They will if you can transform their lives and you position yourself as vital. Okay. So Chrissy has said email support@earmark.me for the slides. Okay, awesome. Thanks, Chrissy. All right, so this is what I would like you to do from the transformation framework. I would like you to choose one question and ask your best client this week. Listen for the problems that you can solve when you choose one of the questions, okay? So choose one from money, one from strategy, one from future. Even if they're just compliance clients and you don't have advisory clients, I'd like you to go and ask your best client, listen to the problems you can solve, and then let me know what happens. So send me a message so you can connect with me on LinkedIn, Amanda C. Watts on LinkedIn. All right. Don't forget to download my book as well, Amanda's new book. Right. So that's kind of covered the kind of things that you can have, the kind of questions, the kind of conversations that you could have with your clients if you were going to shift to a more advisory role. And even if you're already being an advisor, those questions, I reckon you're not asking them. I think you're probably missing the point. You're kind of talking through management reports and, you're going very deep on the numbers, but you're not actually getting them to sit down and think about their business. So please do use those questions. Right. So one of the things that people say to me is, Amanda, I feel really, really comfortable in compliance. I've done the training. I've got the education. I've done the exams. Some of you are CPAs. Some of you have become EAs. Some of you have done bookkeeping training. And there is structure to what you do. There's certain rules you have to follow. You can hide behind your computer. There's loads of government guidelines and there's loads of training for you, right? Advisory is completely the opposite. No structure, no rules, it's client facing, no government guidelines and little training. So you're kind of going in a bit blind, although this is why I've turned up in the world, because I'm hoping to give you structure, give you the rules, make sure that you're comfortable client facing, and I give you the guidelines and I train you a lot on how to be a business advisor. So we're going to take it from how it's perceived as hard and move it into something that you feel very confident and excited about doing. Okay, so we're going to be talking about how to give structure to your advisory services. So the questions, the transformation framework I've given you, those questions are awesome, but we have to find a way to put them into some kind of structure. So this is how you become a vital advisor to your clients. The structure starts at the bottom. So if you imagine that this is vital advisor, top of Mount Everest, right at the bottom, base camp, you have to help your clients align their vision. Then you have to help them have financial clarity, then strategically help them plan, keep them accountable and help them execute, and then keep reviewing and optimizing. So I'm just going to go into each section of this. So vision alignment, your focus when you're sitting down with your clients is getting clear on their personal goals. I cannot say this enough. You are dealing with people when you are dealing with businesses. Their business is a reflection of what they want in their personal life. The majority of people you work with are running a business because they want to exit it and they want an injection of cash, or they want to pay off their mortgage, or they want more time. So what you need to do is find out what is it that motivates them personally, so you can then have personal goals and align those with business goals. And this is where the future conversation comes in. So I've given you the 3 different conversations. This is the future conversation. What would you like your future to look like? Then we have financial clarity. So you've got clear on their personal goals, you've got clear on their business goals. Now we need to help them get clarity. And this is making sure that their personal finances and business finances aligned for sustainability and growth. So for me right now, although I want to exit my business at some point and build it for selling, I want to pay off my mortgage. So my personal finances and business finances, I don't have a huge amount of profit in my business because I'm taking it out to pay off my mortgage. That's my personal goal in the next 3 to 5 years. However, once I've done that, I would need to have another conversation with my advisor and help them go, right, now we're working on exit, for example. So where I am now is not where I'm going to be in 3 years' time, which is why when we get to number 1, where we review and reiterate and keep going over and over, you have to go through this. Now, this is the money conversation. This is the reason why you will get paid the big bucks, because if you can help people get really clear on how to have more money personally and more money in their business, they will throw money at you. Then we have strategic planning. So you're clear on what their personal goals are, business goals. We've had the money conversation. What is it that they want financially? Now we have to strategically plan. This is about defining strategic actions to achieve those goals. You have to then say to them, right, now, these are the first 3 projects that we're going to work on. These are the actions that we're going to work on. We have to look at what resources are out there to help your clients achieve their goals. What are the risks? What are the opportunities? This is a strategy conversation, and all of it is a conversation. You don't have to then go and do the work and get them to achieve their goals. That's for them to do. Okay. And the way that we get them to do it is check in regularly, help them stay on track, celebrate their wins, help them with their challenges. This is the strategy conversation again. This is accountability and execution. Okay. And then finally, what we have to do is continuously evaluate progress and adjust the plan to stay on course. So my plan for the next 3 years is mortgage. My plan for the 3 years after that is exit. Okay. So I can tell you my accountant doesn't know either of those things because he hasn't come to me as a vital advisor to have these 5 different steps and work with me to make sure that I achieve my personal and financial goals. So to recap, you need vision alignment, strategic planning, financial insights, an accountability system, and you review and optimize. Okay. Now, this is the step-by-step on the way that you have to work with your clients. This is why it works for you and your clients. It's outcome driven. So the framework that I've shared with you helps your clients achieve clear, measurable results, and it helps them look at their goals, their finances, their strategy, and their long-term vision. It's a holistic approach. So it's very different from doing the compliance work. It's 360 degrees advisory service. It covers personal aspirations, business success, and financial health. And it's easy to follow. It's a repeatable system that accountants, bookkeepers, and CPAs can use with all clients to provide consistent high-value advisory, which is why we have to have those 5 different steps. When you take this framework and then you add your own little bit of spice, your own flavor. So you take the framework that I've just shared with you, the 5 steps, you add in your experience, your education, and your personality, the essence of you, and turn it into a unique productized model. So nobody else will have the same model as you with a specific niche. You will position yourself as a vital advisor. People will want to work with you because you will transform their world rather than have that transactional experience, which is the compliance side. You will transform their world. You will double your time off because you will be advising, not doing the work. You'll double your profits because you're bringing twice as much value for your clients. So I'm going to share some examples of clients of mine that have included all 5 of those steps and put it into unique methodologies. Hopefully this will be useful for you, right? So I don't want you to get too overwhelmed, but come with me, and you can always watch this again, right? Come with me on this journey. So Jessica, absolutely amazing lady. She specializes in helping law firm owners build their kingdoms into empires. So this is her message. And what she has done is she has taken that vital advisor framework where you help people align their vision, strategic planning, financial insights, accountable system, and help people review and optimize. And she's turned it into a 3-step methodology. She helps her clients get clarity, design a strategy, and catapult their performance. So whilst it incorporates all of those 5 different levels, she has articulated it in a modeled framework that is different from everybody else's. And she helps them build their wealth, helps them feel more prideful, and brings them more confidence. And that's what her unique signature system looks like. Okay, so that's the modeled offer. This is Nishi, and his is again different from Jessica's, right? So Jessica's looks like this. Nishi's actually takes people again through the 5 different levels, but he calls it awareness, assistance, and alignment. And he helps people have cash flow freedom. And what that does is help them grow peace of mind and gives them momentum. So his ideal client is not a law firm owner. His ideal client has a team of 3 to 4 people, and they are about $500,000 to $3 million. So that's who his ideal client is. Different from Jessica. Then you have Kevin, and Kevin actually works with kitchen, bathroom, bedroom, and home improvement businesses. His again is the 5 steps, but he first of all helps them get clarity, then take control, then scale. He then talks about momentum, sustainable growth, and peace of mind. And it gives them a profitable, valuable business, right? And his ideal client has problems with cash flow, problems with low profit margins, and being overwhelmed and busy all the time, which will be different from Jessica's client and different from Nishi's client. Is this proving useful? Can you see how those 5 levels then become a productized offer and is very different? Just let me know if this is useful for you in the chat box, okay? This is Duncan's, and Duncan specializes in helping personal trainers. I couldn't remember now, gym businesses, right? So he talks about quarterly profit distribution. He's very much profit first focused. He actually runs Profit First here in the UK. He owns the Profit First business over here, but he works with his clients to have quarterly profit distribution. So he has a cash system, a data system, and a mindset system. All of those are the same as the 5 different stages. Yeah, great. Awesome. So then under each of those, he helps people be accountable, which you can see as number 2 in my alignment. That's making sure that you've got vision alignment. Financial model. Oh, that's number 4, step 4. Profit first target allocation. That is financial insight. So again, that's number 3. Growth is again 3. All right. And reporting dashboard, that will be the financial insights, right? So you can see how it all fits in and gives you lots of different ideas. And then this is a company called Flinder. And these were one of the first companies. This was one of the first companies I really went deep on signature methodology with, which is actually my expertise, is helping you get together a unique signature methodology that's different from everybody else. And we really work on your experience and your education and who you are. But Alistair, who runs Flinder, we actually created his methodology. He likes to work with data. So he created his methodology around what he believed and was really passionate about. So he works with larger businesses and he helps them align their vision. See, vision alignment, strategic objectives, strategic planning, financial insights, as you can see around the outside, okay? And then he keeps them accountable and reviews and optimizes. So those 5 steps that I've shared with you can fit into any signature methodology. So let's just quickly recap. Every time you do an advisory offering, you have to align with your clients their vision. All right. What is it they want personally? What is it that they want with their business? Then you have to help them strategically plan. Then you have to give them the financial insights so they can achieve their goals. Then you have to keep them accountable. So you're not going to do the work for them, but you have to keep them accountable. And then you have to, every quarter, every year, whatever you feel is right for you and your clients, you have to review and optimize the work that you're doing with them. All right. So going to recap on what we've covered. And then what I would like you to do is put your biggest aha moment from today, your biggest takeaway. So if you've been to my webinars before, you're used to this at the end of a webinar. I would like you to tell me, out of all the things that we've covered, what have you got that you can go and take action on? Because as I said, it's what gets caught, not what gets taught. So we've looked at the 3 big problems. We've got imposter syndrome around advisory instead of compliance, resentment towards clients because they don't value you, and disruption. All right. I've covered how you need to position yourself as vital, valuable, impactful, trusted, agile, and lucrative. It's not just about being a business advisor. It's about being a vital advisor. So you're essential to your clients. We've looked at the transformation framework. So we've looked at the money, the future, and the strategy. And we've looked at the 5 ingredients to give you structure to your advisory services. So out of all those different things, what has been something that you can take away today and make a difference with one of your clients? Because as I say, it's great to come along and listen, but what we want to do is make a difference with your clients so that you are more vital. Okay. So are you going to help them with vision alignment, strategic planning, financial insights, accountability, and help them review and optimize? So what have we got here? So Paul says the mountain climbing analogy was very helpful today and provided some additional clarity. Amazing. That's great, Paul. Graham says the 3 conversations. Petro says, can you use 1 second to recast vision alignment? So you would like me to go through vision alignment again. Let me just go back so you can see. Okay. So vision alignment is all about focusing on your client's personal goals and their business goals to ensure they align, right? So I'll go back to where I was saying, I want to pay off my mortgage in the next 3 years. That's my personal goal. Therefore, the way that I run my business is going to be different from if I was saying my personal goal is to sell my business and take a chunk load of money. Okay, so I want to pay off the mortgage, then I want to build the business to sell. But right now, it's all about taking all the profits out. So I'm not investing my profits into growth. I'm investing my profits into taking them out. Hopefully that's helped. Okay, so what does Lena says? I have all the parts, but have been struggling with how to structure my approach. So the 5 sections give you the structure. Amazing. That's exactly what I wanted to happen. I'm just going to go back here. Go through again and finish on this one, right? Gary says, I must be a doer, not just a note taker. Do or do not. There is no try. Absolutely. I love that. Specific advisory questions to ask. Yeah. What I do find when I share the transformation framework with people, it's just like a light bulb to go, oh my gosh, here are like 15 questions that I can ask my clients and transform their world. So that's amazing. Okay. The transformation framework. Fantastic. Brilliant. So we've gone through all the different sections. Your biggest takeaway you've shared in the chat box. So thank you very much for that. And for those of you who would like to dive deeper, you've got a few options. You can either download my book, amandasnewbook.com. So hopefully there's lots of you on the call today. So please go download that. And if you're watching the recording, please go and download the book. It's there for you and it will give you so much advice around business advisory. I've had great feedback for it. Please go and listen to the podcast. You can catch it on Spotify and on Apple. And you can also go to businessadvisorpodcast.com and you can get it there. And if you would like to find out about working with me, then feel free to go to the Business Advisor Academy website. So Business Advisor Academy. And we've got lots of details on there. Or reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'm pretty friendly. You can reach out to me. So that's me for today. It feels like you have had some great takeaways. People are still putting that. Helen says 3 conversations, easy to add into conversations with current clients. Yeah. That is me. Thank you so much for coming along today and sharing today with me. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. If you have any questions, then feel free to reach out to me. But thank you for having me.
Today's event has ended. To earn CPE, go to earmark.app or scan the QR code on the screen. Then log in or create your free account. Search for the course by tapping on the magnifying glass icon on the home screen and then entering the name of this event. It takes a few days to make the course, so if you're attending this event live, keep an eye out for an email letting you know when the course is available. Pass the quiz to earn your CPE, then tap the button to email yourself a certificate. Stay tuned for more events from Earmark. Thanks for joining us, and we hope to see you again soon.